Welcome to our May meeting for the Westside Heroin Opioid Task Force. I am delighted to see everyone here today. And so the first thing we need to do is, who are the new people in the room? Who are the new people in the room? If you can say your name, the organization, and what brings you to the meeting, that would be great. So say your name, the organization, your role in the organization, and what brings you to the meeting. So who would like to start? Just raise your hand and I'll call on you. All right. Let's move to the meeting. All right, there, Dr. Leslie. How you doing?
Hi, good. How are you? I'm Leslie Williams. I'm an assistant professor at the UIC School of Public Health. I recently started working with the task force and some specific folks on the task force on a research project in Austin and West Garfield Park that I'm leading. And it is focused on, it's called the Overdose Prevention Champion Study. And so we're focused on finding folks who don't themselves use drugs but have a loved one who does, and training that person to become a harm reduction champion. So educating them about harm reduction tools and services and about substance use disorder and about how they can help the person in their lives get better access and more consistent access to things to help them out.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Leslie, for that. Please put your name and information in the chat so people can get in touch with you about that particular study. Thank you. All right, Alex, welcome to the meeting.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here. I'm Alex Peltz. I am here with Thresholds as our team leader for the Narcotics Arrest Diversion Program. So we are operating across the city, but largely in the West Side, helping folks who are arrested with 2 grams or less and a clean background get out of jail. And then we link them in with our services at Thresholds or give them referrals elsewhere where they might already be receiving services. On their way out, we give them some Narcan. We give them some testing strips for fentanyl and for xylazine. So it's not just reducing harm in the particular instance, but it's training people to reduce harm throughout their context in their own lives, to have those tools to administer Narcan or to test to see whether something has fentanyl or has xylazine in it. So I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, a new member of the Thresholds team. Yes, yes. So please put your name and number in the chat and the program that you're working with so we can get in contact with you when we have someone that's just as involved. All right. Thank you. All right, Edie.
Yes, great job. Yes. Good afternoon. My name is Edie Criddle. I'm working with the Southside Heroin Opioid Task Force, and I am working in the capacity of grant coordination and marketing. And I'm here to learn, to see where there's synergy, and very happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, welcome, Edie. Welcome. Please put your name and definitely what you do regarding grants in the chat. I know people are going to need help with that. So thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Um, Dr. Dre.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Oh, somebody fighting in the background. Sorry. Hello, I'm Dr. DeAndre Rudis. I am actually one of the 15 police district council persons. Our charge is to elevate our community's voice in public safety and police accountability concerns. But for this particular meeting, I am a part of the West Side Opioid Task Force. I'm leading Courageous Conversations. We're going to focus on Black male opioid use and the outcomes of overdose, and hopefully we can make as we launch this project. And so with that, I am here, new to the team, but eager to learn all I can.
Welcome, Dr. Dre. Welcome, welcome. Anybody else in the meeting?
Dr. LaBianco is here. She just mentioned in the chat that didn't know how to raise her hand. So.
Dr. LaBianco, take yourself off mute and introduce yourself. I know you're with Shy Care.
Yes, I am with Shy Care, an organization that started with giving out food to the homeless and other little physical things, and now they're getting into the medical field. We've partnered with Westside in order to learn how to do harm reduction because we just don't know everything, and you guys are a great resource for us, and we thank you for that.
Welcome to the meeting. I'm so looking forward to working more with you. We've also worked with them at 10 South Kedzie, so we're going to deepen our work in this next year with you. So this is wonderful. Who else is new to the room? All right. I think everyone has announced themselves. So as Dr. Dre was talking, he talked about a new project that's going to be funded through Cook County Health, and that is a study that we're going to do. Stanley Daniels could not be here. He had an emergency. So I'm just going to briefly talk about the study. And then as we get permission to do this or the protocol to do this, then we will start asking for participants. But this is just a taster, right? So you can understand the study that's going to be being done by us from Cook County Health. So Cook County Health and I and Westside Task Force met together to talk about how can we understand Black men and substance use disorder, particularly opioid use disorder, better. And so we decided we would like to do a community-based research project. And this is where Black men who use drugs, opioids in particular, as well as in recovery, will be the researchers of the project. So they are going to be the ones who create the protocol, create the questions, the surveys, because usually what happens with research is that researchers come up with an idea they would like to study, and then they implement the study. But this is sort of a ground up from the grassroots, saying if you, as a Black man above the age of 45, were to research this particular topic, what questions would you ask? What would you do in this piece? And so that is the work that we're about to embark on with Cook County Health. We'll be funded over 2 years with Cook County Health. And I'm excited. I'm excited because this sort of it changes the game and it helps those who are most impacted by opioid use be involved in the ground floor and coming up with their own solutions and answers. And as soon as things get approved, we then will issue out flyers and then ask all those who are part of this call to help us find Black men in this age group. So I think that's about it. Dr. Dre, you want to add anything else?
Um,
Mhm.
well, but no, I mean, you covered everything. I think the most important thing is to add that in order to get this done, the folks that are either currently experiencing substance use disorder or are in recovery will formulate an advisory board. That is the way that we're going to make sure that those subject matter experts are thoroughly involved, and at each step of the way, we'll continue to go back to them to make sure that whether it's the questions for the focus groups or the intervention that's come up, that they have input into it and they will essentially be guiding it. I'm, of course, the lead researcher. I'll be the one looking at all the data and analyzing it and helping to guide the implementation and oversee it. But ultimately, it's the folks that have been affected the most that will be in charge, if you will. And so, again, I'm just excited that we get a chance to do something like this in our community. And I'm thoroughly from the West Side, and I'm just excited that Fania thought of me to be able to ask me to take on this position. And so I'm just looking forward to getting it started. I'm a little anxious. I'm like, come on, let's go and get this thing going. But other than that, yeah, it's going to be a super dope project, and I'm looking forward to the outcome. So.
Exactly. All right, thank you. So the next person on our agenda to speak to us is Melissa Hernandez. She's the executive director of the Puerto Rico Project. She's amazing, and she's going to tell you about all the services that the Puerto Rico Project offers and programs, and hopefully you guys will get in touch with her so that her, especially the shower unit, can be used with your organizations.
Yeah, for sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Fania, and thank you for having me here, everybody. So, Melissa Hernandez, I specialize in harm reduction. I've been working the communities for about 10 years. And we started, in 2015. We're a little grassroots program. And we started because of a situation that was happening from Puerto Rico to that ended up in like Little Village and Back of the Yards area. Which was a whole human trafficking situation. It's no longer going on, but that's why it's named the Puerto Rico Project. It's named after the investigation, not because I only service Puerto Rican people, which is a lot of people just assume that, and I find it really interesting. But anyway, so some of our services that we provide harm reduction supplies, wraparound harm reduction supplies, not just syringes or smoking kits or snorting kits, which we did find a drop in syringe access. And then as of a few months ago, there was a spike back up to syringe access, which was really interesting. But we go out to encampments and we pass out hot meals, which you see right here to the right. But not only do we pass out hot meals, if we pass out anything upon request, like if people need batteries, we have bought tents, blankets, and if a participant moves from being unhoused to an apartment, we support with groceries or anything like that. So it really depends on what the need is. Here is our shower unit. We started and launched this project last spring, beginning of summer. We had to eliminate our food so we could learn this. We had no support or anything. So we had to learn this from scratch. And it was a challenge and it was an amazing one. And the impact it had on the community, it was amazing. So we're only out there for about a few months and we were able to serve approximately 2,000 people. And this is a seasonal program, because we are working with water that could potentially freeze our pipes and stuff. We do not need to be connected to any other anyone else's electricity or water. We have a 250-gallon water tank in it and a generator. We also provide clothes. I have collected a whole bunch of clothes throughout this winter. So with this shower project, a person just shows up, they need absolutely nothing. We provide all hygiene products, underwear, brand new pair of clothes, shoes if we have it, makeup if we have that, feminine hygiene products, like literally they just show up. We have toothbrush, deodorant, we thought of everything. And I think it helps that I'm a little manic because I think of everything under the sun for a person. So person, all they have to do is show up. No barrier. They don't need anything to access it. Unfortunately, it is not wheelchair accessible. But we did have people who had a disability who went and used the showers without issue and maybe with extra support. And these are our supplies that we also offer. We also do deliver, which is not on here. So if anyone calls and says, hey, I need any supplies or naloxone, doesn't matter where it's at, you can reach out to our text message, email, or whatever, or even through other programs, and we will deliver to families or anyone, even after hours. And then we have a resource, resource tab, where if somebody is looking for similar services with harm reduction services, no matter what state they're in, they're able to utilize the NASIN website. We have some support for victims of domestic violence. We have the overdose prevention training videos in English and in Spanish. I don't know if you guys see me moving this box around. Link to access any food pantries throughout the city. A link to the IDPH reentry services. I work with the Women's Justice Institute right now. I do some care coordinated entry work, work in the front lines of the Cook County Jail. Some free legal support through Legal Aid Chicago. And right here on the bottom right here, it's the toolkit for the Lava May. So if anyone ever is like, hey, I think this mobile shower unit project is really cool, I want to start, we'll be more than happy to tell you what our challenges were and our positive experiences were. And this is just a website where you could just download their toolkit. It was really helpful for us as like a starting point, or at least with a budget when we had no idea what we were doing. And so it's just, we're not trying to gatekeep anything or any of our information, and we want to provide any support in any of these areas. And yeah, so that's pretty much about it. We do have a contact form. People want to volunteer, people want to donate. They could come here. We have PayPal, Zelle, Cash App. Or if anyone has any clothes or anything that they just want to get rid of, you can also reach out to us. And we do events. If you give us enough advance notice, because I do pay people to operate this program, and we are operating on a shoestring budget. But we will do events in the community. And if you are interested on us doing a site of yours, please feel free to email me, and yeah, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Melissa, there's some questions in the chat.
Okay, let me
Lindsay
see.
asks, can a young person under 18 receive the services without an adult present?
So we have served people under the age of 18. We don't turn anyone away. We don't ask for ID. Yeah, so we had families come. We had moms come with kids as young as 3, 4. Excuse me?
Denise, thank you. That was somebody unmuted. Thanks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so yeah, we don't turn anyone away.
Great. And then Carolyn was asking, you want to ask a question, Carolyn?
Sure. I was just wondering, I know that shower unit is on wheels, but is it fixed at a location, or are you traveling to encampments?
We are traveling. Yes, we are in different areas every single day.
Do you have a fixed schedule, or do you ever post anything?
Oh my gosh, I forgot to show you. I forgot to show you everyone that. I am so sorry. All right, here I go. Let me just share real quick one more time. Excuse me. This always happens when I'm talking in front of a large crowd of people. I start choking. So we have a Shower Connect tab, everything about our shower. So our schedule for this year should be finalized in about another week and a half. But you could come here and you could see where we're going to be at, what time, what community. Yeah, so this is where it will be located on the website. And then of course we're trying to make it into a flyer, put it on all of our social medias. Yeah.
You are amazing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Also, too, you have the harm reduction mobile tent, the OPS site. Is that part of your work as well?
Yes, that's part of my work with the Illinois Harm Reduction Recovery Coalition. That's in partnership with them. So we go to different events or conferences, and we do Springfield, and we set up the overdose prevention mock overdose prevention site, and we do education wrapped around that and how that would look if we had one of those in our community, and the support services that would benefit the community. Yeah. just in case people don't are like, I'm against it, I don't know what that is. And it's like, this is what it really is. And probably it's not what you're thinking. Yeah.
Anybody else
Thank
have any questions for Melissa?
This is Walonza. Hey, everybody from the South Side. Hey, Melissa. I just wanted to add that we have been added on her schedule. So she'll be coming to the South Side at 2 separate locations. So we're really excited about that. Great work, Melissa. And we look forward
Yes.
to partnering with you.
Yeah, me too. I'm super excited. And thank you for inviting me. Yes. Mm, mm.
Very good. Melissa, please put all your information in the chat so people can reach out to you regarding that mobile unit as well as donating clothes, because I know that is an issue. I know with us, men's clothes are a big issue. So if anybody has men clothing, shoes and things like that, definitely reach out to Melissa as well as the West Side Heroin Opioid Task Force. We take all that stuff. All
This
right.
is Walonza again. I've got men clothes for you both
All right.
and shoes.
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna pick that up. Lou said, "Who? What?"
Yes, yes. I will make sure we have the bags together. And I even have children's clothing.
Very good.
Brand new stuff with tags on it. So,
All right.
okay.
Very good. Thank
We'll set
you.
something up. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Any more questions? Okay, so we're gonna move on to birthday girls. Update Chelsea. Yes. If you could give us update on or some education on the legislation of House Bill 2929, as well as the hope. We would like to be educated on those pieces of legislation.
Buckle up, people. Okay, I actually have like a Canva presentation. Can I share it? Okay.
I think I made you co-host, right?
I think so. Okay. I always mess this up. So let me know if you can see it. We good? I see Lee thumbs up. Okay. Hello. For those of you I have not been privileged to meet yet, hello, my name is Chelsea Laliberte Barnes. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I am a licensed clinical social worker. I'm also the co-founder of the Illinois Harm Reduction and Recovery Coalition, which has been around since 2017. And we do the work of the advocacy. That's what we do. And advocacy is a big, broad spectrum, but really what we're focused on is protecting harm reduction and recovery sports services and expanding it across the state through legislation. And so I'm going to talk today a little bit about what we've been focused on, give you all an update on bills we're supporting, where they are in the process, bills that we are not supporting and why, and action steps you can take. And I'm happy to answer any questions as well. And also, P.S., I love the PR project. They are amazing. Okay, that's me. You don't need to learn any more about me. Okay, a little bit about IHRRC. First of all, it's a free organization. Anybody can join it. There's going to be a little QR code at the end where you can link out to sign up. Our mission is to enact community-centered and intersectional policy reforms to prevent overdoses, reduce the harms associated with substance use, so infectious diseases and things of that nature, improving access to treatment, promoting racial equity, advancing a public health rather than a carceral approach. And we built that mission statement together as a coalition a few years ago, just like we did with our vision. We want a statewide movement around harm reduction and recovery sports services that eliminates stigma towards people who use drugs, upholds every individual's sense of dignity and well-being and autonomy. And we want to work towards shared goals and address these harms together. So these are just, some of y'all who are here are probably a part of IHRC. I know many of you. But here's just a little snapshot. We have agencies from all across the spectrum of services that intersect with this work, and we are so grateful for all of your support and advocacy over the years. And the work just continues. Here we go. Buckle up. So we've got two bills that we're really primarily focused on, and they're pretty good. So you probably know most about the first one, HB 2929, which is this is our third shot at the General Assembly trying to get this bill through. This is, of course, an initiative of Representative Ford. We have support from all over the spectrum of the legislature. I will tell you that. So this bill's focus is to pilot an OPS in Chicago's West Side. So it is specific to a location. DHS is really the entity that would be authorized to oversee the operation of one pilot program in collaboration with harm reduction and healthcare providers. And we are sort of at the point now, the legislative session is about to end on May 31st. So we're coming up here on a real deadline. We are actually still working on advocacy efforts. So currently, the bill is being worked on with the speaker's legal team. We are trying to just clean up immunity language and some other components that are really specific and important, but focused on like who does this bill protect and how does it protect them? The other thing that I think is really important to know is that, the advocacy doesn't need to stop. There is a list of legislators that we have just are sort of in like this middle place that we just need to move over. And even this week, you guys, we had a team go to Representative Matt Hansen's office out in Batavia. We had a team of subject matter experts physically go to his office after he had originally told us he wouldn't vote for it. And they got a yes out of him. Simply because they went, they engaged, they brought their director of the health department, they brought leaders, they brought harm reductionists, they brought people who use drugs, and they came out with a vote we didn't have before. It happens all the time, and you too can do that. The other glitch we've sort of hit, which is very frustrating, is that so we all just went. I'm also on the Illinois Remediation Board. That's the board that determines the funding appropriation for the opioid settlement dollars. And we just went through a whole process of determining funding for the opioid overdose prevention site. And it got stopped by the governor's steering committee, which is led by Lieutenant Governor Stratton. They decided to table the funding until the bill is passed. I have all sorts of thoughts, ideas, opinions on this, and I'm not going to share all of them with you, but I am just telling you that that's what happened. It's not for lack of trying. We have every single member of the remediation board voted to fund overdose prevention sites at up to $3 million a year for the next 3 years. So if you would like to advocate for that decision to be changed, I highly recommend that you reach out to Secretary Martinez's office, Deputy Governor Ho's office, and of course the Lieutenant Governor. So we are stuck a little bit, but we are not done. We have still work to do. We have a whole other year and a half to get this passed. And then the next bill that we're going to talk about a bit is the Holistic Overdose Prevention and Equity Act, which is a bill that we have been developing for the last year and a half with so many advocates who came together and said, we actually need a lot of stuff. We need a lot of stuff, and we need it now. When is harm reduction going to get a sustainable be able to be sustained and grown in this state? When are we going to be able to do that comprehensively? Why do we have to do all these things in piecemeal? So we found Representative LaPointe, who is the chair of the Addiction and Mental Health Committee in the House. She's amazing. And she said, I want to help. I know I've been listening to you guys. Tell me how, get your points together and bring me in and tell me what you need. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it today. But first, I'm going to tell you about bills we don't like, okay? So this is a bill, SB 1773, a very dangerous bill that is basically a double down on the drug war, which would attempt to schedule and classify xylazine and fentanyl analogs, not by going after traffickers or gangs or anything like that, by going after users. And that, I think, is confusing, right? It's confusing to me because we've all kind of come to this point where we've decided that addiction is an illness, substance use is a symptom issue of life, And because of that, we need to be trying to end the drug war, not perpetuate it. And in fact, what this bill would do is it would make possession of xylazine tranq class 3 or 4 felony conviction. That's 1 to 3 or 2 to 4 years. Who needs that, right? So this bill has made it pretty far. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that in a second. And you can QR code it top right and read our official statement on this matter. Essentially, the proponents of the legislation are saying that this is going to help the overdose crisis, but I think we all know that further incarceration has never actually made a dent in curbing drug use, making communities safer, ending overdoses. The work we do is what has driven down overdose deaths. So we're doubling down on the drug war. We don't like that. The IHRRC does not like that, of course. And I think no matter how many times and in how many ways we've been able to explain this to the legislators over the years, for some reason they are still moving forward with this bill. So this is a moment in time to actually, what I'm going to tell you on the next page, which is call your state rep. Call your state rep. Find out who they are. You can just say, who is my state rep if you don't know who they are. And then this is a sample script you can use. Screenshot this script. I am also happy to send this presentation out to explain to them why you do not want your legislator to vote for this bill and the harms it's going to cause. And feel free to use your own story. Feel free to use your own reasons. I have my own, and this is just silly. It's silly that we're still here. So this is something we're fighting against. Okay, I'm gonna do just a quick, I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill, Schoolhouse Rock. So this is the process, this graphic, which I love, is the process of how a bill becomes a law. So as you can see, the HOPE Act, which is newer, was just drafted and filed. So it's the least far along in the process. The next step in the process won't probably happen until next legislative session, which is either going to be veto session, but most likely the spring session next January. And that's when it'll start going through committee. So we do have a lot of educating to do over the next several months on what the HOPE Act is. The overdose prevention sites pilot is a little bit farther along. We've got, it's ready for the floor. It's ready for the floor. It's going, it's possible that in the next 9 days it can hit the floor, which is exciting. And then the bad bill that I just talked about is even further along than that. It has gone through one chamber, the Senate, and it is now in the House, and it is waiting. We don't know when it's going to get called, but there are legislators who have reached out to me personally and said, I don't get it. Tell me why we are here. Make it make sense. And so by creating a statement and having you all call your legislators, this is one way where we can sort of fight this off. Because if there's enough public pressure to back down or at least suggest a reconsideration of the legislation, we can make a difference by not further harming communities. But something to celebrate is that the OPS pilot bill, this is the furthest we've ever gotten. We are almost at 60 Democratic votes. We do even have some Republican votes, but in order for the speaker to call it, we've got to get to 60 votes. That's majority. So as you can see, we have a lot of support from across the political spectrum. We have chief co's that are moderates from the Latino caucus, and we've got a lot of support on here. The Black caucus, the moderate caucus, we've got a lot of support. We just need to keep pushing. So I'm going to tell you, as I said, a little bit about the HOPE Act. Why do we need the HOPE Act? Well, you all know. I'm not going to dive into this, okay? We need hope through more harm reduction related services, which impact all of your programs. So even though we're seeing drug deaths go down, we are not seeing these same decreases at the same rates in Black and Brown communities, and we have no way of telling whether or not what's going to happen over the next 6 to 8 months. But we know what's working, and we need more funding and support from the state around those strategies. So this bill would expand access in high needs areas, improve statewide infrastructure and development around the concept and philosophy and strategies of harm reduction, providing sustainable funding, and reducing the legal and systemic barriers for harm reduction programs to exist. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. Presents. So first of all, so there's kind of two parts of this. One, this bill would make medications for substance use disorders, methadone, buprenorphine, naltrexone, it needs to be made available to people. People incarcerated need to also be able to detox or have withdrawal management support and other psychiatric meds that they just don't get. They need to be able to access these while they're incarcerated and upon release. And they also need to be able to access naloxone, period, and be connected to a harm reduction provider upon exit from jail. So this bill would do that. The next part of this is the health system and local protections. So we're suggesting here that hospitals offer MAR, MAT, at the emergency level, like at the frontline level, and naloxone as well upon exit. So this would make it so. It's a shall, not a may. And then also it would include fentanyl in urine drug screens and require reports back to the state so that we can actually see what's going on in different communities through this emergency room data. Municipalities cannot ban harm reduction based on service type. Wouldn't that be so great if I didn't have to spend my time going to zoning board meetings and stuff like that? Using zoning laws, or they cannot use zoning laws from blocking harm reduction services. So, for example, we're dealing with this in Rockford right now. Live for Lolly has been told that they cannot provide harm reduction out of their current office that they're in. Well, if this bill were passed, it would supersede the municipality's ability to force them out. So that's an example. Okay, infrastructure and leadership. So with this bill, we would create the first ever harm reduction program board with representatives from the legislature, public health, treatment, recovery, harm reduction, and of course, people with lived and living experiences would make up this board to be able to provide recommendations for how the state should be addressing harm reduction. We would actually get a chief harm reduction officer because when you think about it, harm reduction is healthcare. Harm reduction is housing. Harm reduction goes at the intersections of so many issues that we're not even seeing because we haven't really had the leadership to recognize that. So a harm reduction officer would oversee the intra-government agency collaboration, coordinate programming and funding, promoting equity and reduce stigma. And it would force healthcare professionals across behavioral and medical fields to complete harm reduction training for licensure renewal. I think that's going to be our biggest pushback. Already getting it from my own social worker colleagues. So, but it's important. Housing. Okay. Housing providers must use a housing first approach because we know stability comes before sobriety. What do you do if you can't have a house or somewhere to live? And as such, with the housing first approach, housing providers cannot deny or evict people based on what kind of medications they're on, what kind of substances they're using. So for example, how many of us know somebody who's trying to get off of heroin or fentanyl that is using cannabis? It sounds like any positive change to me. So why are we punishing them for making good choices in their life? That's not working and it's not helpful. And they can't deny people based on arrest or conviction history. This applies to all community-based providers of funded or regulated that are funded and regulated by the state. And it ensures people have a fair shot at housing regardless of their recovery path. Harm reduction funding. So that would be really the big thing. Because again, even though we have like funding through opioid settlement dollars right now, we actually need sustainable funding within the state infrastructure of the budget to be able to continue to grow. So this would create essentially a grant program that would allow organizations to provide a whole suite of services that they're probably currently offering, but through grant funding through the state. So, so that's obviously another big important one. How are we going to do this work without the appropriate resources? And then, oh, okay, I guess I have 2 slides for this. Never mind. If I, of course, will answer questions, but if you want to become a member of IHRRC, you can use that QR code. I will also put a link in the chat. You could check out our website over here. And I'm going to come off my presentation, because I'm sure people have questions or comments?
Put that QR code back up. You're too quick, Chelsea.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Okay. I'm doing it. Sorry, Carlos. I could also just put the link in the chat, but I'll leave it up here for another moment. Happy to answer any and all questions that you might have. I think I said this 3 times. You need to call your legislator about SB 1773. This is a bad bill. Bad bills.
Yeah, I need to call other legislators because mine is Lindsay LaPointe. So
Right. Okay, fine. Maybe you can call a legislator where like your organization,
yes,
you know, are located. If
I think so. But first, what I did want to say first, thank you, Chelsea, for that. I think this is good, and I think we'll definitely have you. We need your information. I think the other thing is if we could get some talking points about the one bill we want to kill. I'm pretty confident I can speak about the others, but it's like I'm glad you flagged that. Thank you.
You are so welcome. I have a talking here. I'm going to put a couple of things in the chat. One of them that you can use in your conversations is the official statement from IHRRC. There you go. And I mean, this has in it all you really need to know. It's not blocked out in like bullets, but it's certainly something you can share and say, this is where we're at.
For those of you who are new to the task force meetings, we do send out all this information in a few days after the meeting.
It's important. We cannot incarcerate our way out of this issue, right? Out of people whose drug use puts them in positions where they could be arrested by police, right? And then studies have shown once someone has been arrested and they then are released, overdose is more likely to occur. Fatal overdose is more likely to occur, especially amongst Black and brown men because of that. So that's the reason why we have to educate ourselves regarding this issue and making sure that this is not an issue of incarceration. It's an issue of healthcare. And we need to put it back into the healthcare space, you know. Anybody have any questions for Chelsea?
Well, and just to piggyback off of your point, Fania, you know, like why are legislators spending time on a strategy that is actually going to harm more people and that they have already been told doesn't work instead of focusing their time and energy on advancing healthcare, on advancing access? Like that's my argument for this whole thing. Like you're wasting your time because it's racist. Exactly, Melissa, because it's racist. But what's interesting is I will say this, and this is not like to be rude or to call out anybody, but if you take a look at the co-sponsor list of this bill from the Senate side, you will see some familiar names. And I think it's just important to point out that even people you wouldn't think, even legislators who are your own legislators, you wouldn't think would support this for some reason, wanted to sign on as a co-sponsor.
I think that's the reason why we have to educate. We have to educate. Our community has to educate our sponsors, our legislators regarding this issue because they, for lack of better words, sometimes we fall into the same old, and we don't recognize new ways of doing things that are more beneficial because we're so stuck on that's the solution we grew up with. And that must work because that's the solution, but it doesn't.
But you know, Fanya, I don't necessarily, I mean, I agree with you on that, but I also want us to look at the narratives that's being sent out in regards to overdoses and fentanyl and xylazine. It's the narratives that are being portrayed is that it's a bad, bad drug and anyone that has it or use it is bad. And so we're not separating the dealers from the active users. The focus is everyone has to go because it's a bad drug. You have children that are dying, you have adults that are dying, you have people that are being addicted. You even have this story going around now that they're trying to put a drug facility on the west side of Chicago. So people walk in that never use can use, and they'll be addicted for the next 20, 30 years. So we've got to look at the narratives that are being pushed. And I think once we begin to take a look at that, focus on the education part. When we hear somebody talk about it, when we're sending out newsletters, when we're putting things on social media, giving them stats and examples and letting them see and clearly understand that, first of all, drug addiction is an illness. We've got proof. We show that it's an illness, just like diabetes or heart disease. And even though we can say that, we have to repeat it because they're repeating the fact that it's bad, that it's killing our children, that it's affecting the community. And so we have to just consistently shoot out a total different narrative than the one that the media is portraying.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Lee. Absolutely. We need to tell the stories of how harm reduction works. And so
Exactly.
please tell the story.
And
Anybody?
hey,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Fania, but Walanza, I mean, like, amen to everything you said, 100%.
Mhm.
One more thing. So in the official statement, you'll see one of the things that our friend Taylor Wood, is Taylor even here from CRA? They were kind enough to produce a report that actually outlined how, like specifically with xylazine, how much is actually showing up in the drug supply from their FTIR spectrometer. And it was dismal. And of course, we did not find one sample where it was just xylazine because it doesn't really exist, right? And we know that because we're out there and we know what the drug supply looks like. I guess if so they're just basing this off of the boogeyman sort of complex, to your point.
Exactly.
And so what I said to Leader LaPointe and Leader Gazzardi was this: I will prove to you through the FTIR data that this is not that this is not the way, and that this is not the biggest concern that they should be focusing on. This is wasteful, and we were able, thank you to Taylor, to get that data over to them, and now they have great talking points to work against advancing the bill that they're planning on using. And it was multiple legislators from all across the spectrum that reached out to me. My rep Nabila Syed out in Palatine. I mean, they were all like, what is this? Like, please tell me, like, we're not doubling down here. So Taylor, you're amazing. Yeah, David Paris, he's also amazing. So
Yeah.
anyways,
All
I just
right.
wanted to mention that.
Because we only have 7 more minutes left. I had to move on. So thank you, Chelsea. Thank you for that presentation. Everybody educate yourself regarding all the legislation that's out there. It's important that we stay informed and yeah. Anyway, so next person is on our list, John Walker, regarding our next in-person meeting. John Walker, where are you? Did you leave?
He was here, there.
Okay, he even got logged on early. Maybe
No,
something.
he's still on.
Uh-huh. I see him. There we go.
Hi. Hi, Reverend Barry.
Hello, how you doing,
Hi,
John Walker?
Reverend Lee. What am I doing? I'm multitasking. What am I doing? I'm just talking about me hosting you all very briefly in the parking, right?
And yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Real quickly, my name is John Walker. I am the program manager for the DOJ program, the Community Rescue Recovery Program for men of color, for young men specifically coming from Sheridan Correctional Center who have co-occurring SUD and mental health services. And we will be providing those services at free of charge to them when they're sent to us from Sheridan. I am honored to be hosting you all on June the 12th. I am so excited. Reverend Barry has been so amazing to me since my transition back to the West Side, and I just needed to host you all. I needed to bring you all into this amazing space that they have here at New Age Services. We are no longer just a methadone program. We are a behavioral health services organization that provides not only methadone maintenance, but we provide level 1, level 2 outpatient counseling. And we are also, along with the DOJ grant that I oversee, trying to build a reentry program. And I have been spending time with everyone I possibly can on the West Side, and specifically with Reverend Berry's amazing group of people. It's just been amazing. And so, yes, parking. Unfortunately, you will have to park on Kostner. There is a lot of parking on Kostner. We have security, so your cars will be checked on. They will be safe. We haven't had any issues. And so, yes, please park on Kostner, and we are preparing now. I've been preparing since we agreed that you all will be coming. So I'm excited to have you all. Thank you, Reverend Bear, for giving me these few minutes to, share a little bit about what's to come. Everyone have an amazing day. God bless you all. If you have any other questions, you can put them in the chat so that we don't take up too much more this time. Is that okay, Reverend Berry?
That is fine. Thank you, John Walker. Appreciate it.
All right. Love you. God
What's the
bless
date
you.
again?
It is June the 18th. June 18th, we'll have a little lunch at 12:30, so you can get there early as much as you possibly can, and then we'll start the meeting exactly at 1 and have a meeting from 1 to 2 on Wednesday, June 18th.
We'll put the address in the wrap up too.
Exactly. So, does any members have any announcements before we log off? Any member announcements?
Well, of course, you guys are from the west side, but on the south side, we're actually having another resource event scheduled for June the 25th at 7,000 South Jeffrey Boulevard. This is an annual event. We're partnering with Bryn Mawr Community Church. June the 13th, we're doing a kit built activity here at our site at 1629 East 87th Street. If you come and build some kits, you're more than welcome to keep the kits that you build. And in September, and we haven't put it out yet, but we're actually partnering with Corp and UIC to do a drug summit here on the south side of Chicago. And we're anticipating maybe 250 to 300 providers. And it's basically to pour back into the providers who are doing the work around substance use and harm reduction. And so that will be taking place at Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church on 45th and Princeton Avenue, but I'll keep you guys abreast of what's going on as the days gets closer. We have newsletters, flyers, and all that stuff out. Thank you guys for listening.
That is wonderful. Anybody else have any member announcements?
Hi, everyone. My name is Officer Capers. I wanted to make sure you are informed about National Night Out, August 5th. Everyone is welcome to participate. It will be held on Roosevelt Road. Also, this month is Mental Health Awareness Month, so there will be a Road to Wellness on Roosevelt Road at the end of May. For those that would like to participate, you're also able to participate hosting it from I Am Able. Diamonds in the Making, we have their annual revival right in front of the Save-A-Lot located at Congress and Pulaski. It's a 2-day revival. The dates are August the 22nd. And if you're interested in collaborating and being a part to share information and resources to serve the community, those are also other dates. During Memorial Day weekend, there's Hands Across Chicago Action, across the city of Chicago. So those different engagements coming up. You are very much for inviting me to be a part of this meeting today.
Thank you, Officer Capers. Make sure you drop your name and information in the chat. Officer Capers knows all the community events. It is now 1:59. And so the last announcement I want to make is that you need to save the date for Friday, August the 29th. It's going to be our International Overdose Awareness Day. Yay! We're going to go in the same place we were before. It's going to be amazing. And we will tell you more about it in June. All right, but save that date, Friday morning, August the 29th. And with that, our meeting is over. Yay, everybody. Go have a great afternoon. Yes, Lee, do you have something?
We'll just stay open until you look if anybody needs a capture or anything, because Patrick Dombrowski put information in about an event too. So we'll stay around, but you can all
You can
Go.
all log off, and those who have some other information, please put in the chat, and we'll
I
send
was
them.
just going to ask for that. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Fania, for inviting me today and into this, welcoming me into this space. I appreciate everyone.
Thank you, Melissa. We appreciate all the work you do. Yes.
Melissa's information is in the chat. We'll send it out, Sharon, unless she can pop it in there now.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
Thank
because
you
I
for
think
inviting me too.
Thank you, Chelsea. Have a good afternoon.
Could you spell that officer's name for me, please?
Oh, Caper, Caper.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Capers with S. Yes.
And then she's out of the South Side?
No, she's
11th
West
district.
Side. Oh no, that's our.
West Side.
11th
Okay.
district.
The Summit's in the South Side. Okay.
That's our
11th
girl
district.
there. I'm not gonna let her go to the South Side. Hold her. Mm-hmm.
Well, there's Sophia. Well, hi, Sophia. And there's Elise.
Hey, I'm dropping off. Have a good evening or rest of your
Thank
day.
you.
Oh, I'm not recording now. I just wanted to say it's so nice to see you. Hello.
How are
I'm
you?
on you on here because you on here. And then